Welcome to Let's Talk About It with Amy Schreiber, where we talk about life's journey through real estate market and everything in between. My name is Amy Schreiber. I am your host. I'm a local realtor in the state of Florida, servicing the Tampa Bay area. I am joined by my co-host, Katie Easling. So, Katie, where did we leave off?
On the last episode, we left off with another stair step in your journey in corporate America. And that was the decision to not take a very visible front facing position in New York and to stay with the team that you had been working with, locally, and work under a person there that your friend Dee Dee had previously worked under. So tell us some more about that.
Yeah, so of course, like I said, having an opportunity to potentially relocate to, Jersey City slash New York area was amazing. And yes, I decided to stay in Florida. I thought it was going to be a great opportunity, to support the managing director that Dana and Todd had supported, not really knowing what I was getting myself into. Um, so, of course, as I said in the last episode, you know, the first couple months were kind of like the honeymoon phase. Everything was good. I was running staff meetings. I was, helping him with various presentations, decks, but it wasn't like he wasn't giving me the time that I needed to fully support him, right? And it was always there's not enough time, but yet I needed to be there. So I didn't realize that really was his MO in a lot of cases. And so again, I continue to plug away, continue to, learn new pieces of how to support this man. Um, so, like I said, a few months in to the position, I would go in, we would review a presentation that I had created for him for a certain meeting or presentation with a senior leader. He would first kind of talk about, okay, here's what I'm thinking, here's my vision, go do it. So I would do it, I'd come back. And, everything he was asking me to include, I would have there, right? And display it in the most senior way, etc. And again, I was still learning, right? But at the end of the day, the information I was coming up with was what we had discussed. And then there were times where I would go in, we had just discussed, let's adjust this visual, add this and, whatever, and add this verbiage. One day I remember going into his office and I had my right hand with me as well. I think I mentioned that last week. And he just clearly gaslighted me. It was, I had shown him the presentation that we had discussed the night before, and he just flew off the cuff. He basically saying this is it, this is elementary. The words are not as senior as I wanted. I didn't tell you to do this. I wanted this. What are you thinking, Amy? And again, we had talked about this in detail the day before. And it was like, you, what, in my seat, and again, gaslighting, right? They push you and they make you think that you're doing something wrong when you didn't, right?
Yeah.
You were just doing kind of what you were told to do and what was discussed. But there was at that moment, I was like, oh my God, maybe I just totally made up what we had talked about yesterday. And I'm the one who screwed up. No, at the time, I was just like, I remember that warm feeling just go through my body, and my right hand was just like, oh my God, because he had been in the chair the day before and he saw everything.
Yeah.
And it was just, I think at that moment, I was like, this is not happening to me. I have gone through 15, 16 years of my corporate career.
Yeah.
I've never been disrespected and abused ever. I had never had that happen to me. And it was kind of, it wasn't sudden, but I think that moment it was like boom, it hit me. Amy, what the hell did you get yourself into?
Right.
Right? And that would continue for months. I think I was supporting him for maybe a total of 6 months. And it was the worst 6 months of my life. Well, not the first couple, but there were days I would be driving home from work. Again, pressure,
Yeah.
right? And then, of course, the emotion of
Yeah.
this guy is going to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
He's telling me that I'm doing this when he asked me to do it, but then he says, no, I didn't, right? So I remember driving home many days just crying. I was breaking down, and I'm a strong person.
Yeah.
I never thought I would be in that position, and I loved working at the firm.
Yeah.
I mean, they did you no wrong in my eyes. I mean, I know there was, stuff that can be improved, but I think the one thing that got me after, those days driving home, just trying to release my frustration before getting home and having to take care of the family, right? And cooking and whatever. I remember it was probably about a month before I had the real conversation with him that I wasn't happy. It was a month before that. I was getting ready for bed. I laid down and bawled uncontrollably. I do cry, obviously, but I'm not a crier, and I never like or want to be in a victim position. And I felt he put me there. And I remember tears for hours. I couldn't go to sleep that night. So I think shortly after that, we had an offsite, which is where his team, his leadership team from around the globe came in. I obviously worked on that. I just managed it. And after that offsite, it was very successful. And I think he was shocked, which is stupid. But I remember I asked him, can we talk? And I told him, I said, listen, I can't do this. I was at the point where I thought I was going to have a mental breakdown and I needed to stop. And anything, if you watch these episodes, you know that when I see danger or I see like I have to escape, I will put my foot down and I will make a plan, right? So I basically had a conversation. I said, listen, I can't do this anymore. I don't have a position to go to. If you want to get rid of me, get rid of me. I'll figure it out. Right. I'm a big girl. I can take care of myself. And he's like, no. Let's just, okay, fine. I understand. We'll, get someone, I'll start interviewing or whatever. And, we'll move you to another position. And, I felt good about that. But it never happened for a good, I don't know, few weeks or what have you. And then finally, for whatever, I guess it's the grace of God, he was moved to another position. And I felt relief. But then the next guy coming in, I felt relief, but I also felt, what is he saying about me? right? I mean, because this new person's coming in from India and he doesn't know me, and what are they saying? Is he saying that I'm the one? And I'm sure it was that. I'm sure that was the case. Because the next guy, um, he basically treated me like an assistant. Oh, I've got a person here. You can deal with, the stuff on the ground in America and, whatever. So I mean, we didn't really have a good relationship, that next managing director. And thank God um, I would then move to another manager in his organization, which again, I would end my career shortly after that, but in corporate America. But I think about it today, Katie, and I'm like, this happens too often. And people always say, why don't you say anything? First of all, I don't remember a lot because I think as a survival mechanism, I had to suppress my memories, or I don't know, right? I mean, I know I remember bits and pieces, and I say that because I had a friend who experienced some of the same stuff, but she was in a different position, close friend of mine, and she complained. She filed a complaint, and eventually she was pushed out. And so you ask, why don't you say anything? That's because they're going to retaliate. And I didn't want to believe that. And again, I wish I could have helped her. Right. It was a different situation. So there was no way for me to be involved. However, even when she was giving me some of the struggles that she was going through, I couldn't articulate outside of what I just said.
Yeah.
Because I erased it from my memory.
Helps you.
It's sad that this happens more times than I think any of us are willing to admit in any business. It can happen in any business, right? But this is a global organization. And what's unfortunate, this has happened so often with this man. The men get away with it. And it's not right.
But, you had the ability, the knowledge, the success to have, a very long career with that firm, a very long career in corporate America. And it's so sad that the actions of one individual were so damaging and so toxic that you made the decision to just leave the entire environment, to plan your exit and get out of really, you ended up out of corporate America.
Yeah, it would take, like I said, a new guy coming in, me then moving to another manager and doing great things before I left. And we'll talk about that next week. And that'll end but that ended. This is the start of ending my corporate desire, my corporate career. And like I said, I mean, I had to plan my escape. If anybody has watched these episodes, I planned my escape. So again, it would take me probably a good 2 years. And the last year of that would be me asking, let me go. Let me go. I need to find myself. I had lost myself personally and professionally. I needed to take that road of, let me leave this behind and let me figure out me. Let me find Amy again and let me find my voice and let me do what I was meant to do in this world. Knowing nothing is ever easy, nothing, you know, it's fun. And there's so many challenges out there, but of course I had gone through so many challenges in the last 20 years. But I left. Again, that started me deciding to take another road or another path. And I'm grateful for that. I experienced it. It's shitty, but it led me to where I am now. And I am grateful for that. But so many others get stuck in the system because, the damage to their ego, the damage to their mental health, they can't surpass, right? And I feel bad for those people who have experienced something like this or worse, that feel trapped. And I think, again, I've always taken the risk. I've always embraced change. I'm so glad that I did that and that was part of my DNA to get out. I just hope if others are experiencing the same thing or whatever, that they do something about it. Whether it's plan your escape, leave, take the risk, or see something. Unfortunately, there may be some repercussions, but at the end of the day, I didn't use my voice. And I am very disappointed in myself for that. But again, I couldn't recall facts. I still can't recall everything that I experienced throughout those 6 months or what have you. I've just pushed it away. So yeah, it's next week we will get into my last position and what I chose for my next career, which was real estate. And I am grateful for my journey.
I'm excited to hear about it. And I love the takeaway that you shared today, because we've talked about good bosses, we've talked about horrific bosses, but I think the theme through your entire podcast, the takeaway for me is that you can change whatever environment you're in, whatever you're dealing with, make a plan, make the change, and leave and plan your exit. And you've done a fantastic job with that throughout your career. So thank you for sharing today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.